Alrighty, welcome to Arena. Welcome to a 1v1 cast. And as I was just saying here, we have a lot of games over the next couple weeks with Dark Noob. So, Dark Noob is a CL player on the Clown Legion team. Everyone calls Arena players clowns. They themselves call themselves clowns. I'll maybe update people on that story later on. But, doesn't matter. Arena is a map where some crazy stuff can happen. Like, I don't like to play it too much. But if I were to play it, I would want to play against a player like Jonslow. Because he's quite literally the slowest player over 2K. I don't think there's any disputing that. He's incredibly slow. But he's played this game for a long time. And he's got some wacky strats, and he can do some crazy things. So, let's talk about the civs here. So, this is an experiment, FYI. This is a little experiment because we're going to try and spruce up some of my explanations and introductions on casts. Now, for people who ever watch me live, I don't like to press all these buttons and have these manual pop-ups because that can be a bit much for you guys. However, we're going to have a few tidbits maybe pop up like here or here just to talk about the civs. And I want YouTube, when this hits YouTube, to tell me what you think of it, all right? I'm asking you guys, I'm letting you know ahead of time, if we break down the civs, if you would like some of these things to be there or not, if you don't need them and you just want to listen to my voice, that's fine too. But starting with the Bulgarians. Bulgarians are not really a civilization that you think are strong on Arena. But they can be in many situations. So first off, most relevant bonus for Bulgarians, I'd say, is the fact that their blacksmith upgrades are 50% off. That is so important. And it's so helpful when you need to get a lot of upgrades in a short period of time. And that's kind of an edge for them because they don't have good archer lines. So they can use the cheaper blacksmith upgrades. And then on the flip side, you also have a Krepos, which is a good defensive building, which is like a smaller castle. And then you also get the swordsman upgrades for free. So those are the main things. But none of those things necessarily scream closed maps. And none of those things scream Arena. So these two are trash talking right now. And I believe they had played games prior to this because at the start, Dark Noob saw the Civ matchup. And he said, this is insane. And he's probably like, hey, you've got a much better Civ. And I think he does. Also, and so many of my viewers scream and cry and complain and say, no, don't do it when I talk about nerfs. But I think the Civ needs nerfed, man. I think one of these things needs to be tweaked. Let's talk about it. So, you've got villagers that are affected by monastery upgrades. So, Fervor means your villagers move faster. Sanctity means your villagers have more HP. You get mining upgrades for free in both ages. So, you've got crazy mining. Your monasteries are dirt cheap. They're like 75 wood, I think. So you can just make 4 monasteries right away. Then you have awesome monk technologies. Then you've got an insane unique unit that's hard to stop. Then you get gunpowder in Castle Age. You can research chemistry. And then you've got the crazy Hufnitze. The Civ is just really, really stacked for Arena. Now they're spamming numbers at each other because they probably have a taunt pack. There's some taunt packs you can download. You can search for them on the mod center. There's like Lord of the Rings taunts. There's a bunch of different taunt packs. And anyways, so you have your traditional taunts like 11 or 15 or 10, whatever. I think it's like 1 through 60. Whatever they're typing is some weird taunt pack that they both must have. Because they're friends. They know each other. And with knowing your opponent and knowing his style, you kind of expect certain things. So I think if I were in Dark Noob's shoes, I would probably expect to see something like monks here. Monks, castle drops, anything that's rather low eco from Jonslow, and a lot of pressure. So that's kind of my spiel. And honestly, the second I said it, I kind of regretted touching on it here for those watching the live stream. But yeah, basically, guys, I don't want to have the visuals on the stream because there are instances where I don't want to show it up or bring it up. Like, I don't want to show the whole tech tree on the side of the screen. I feel like that looks really tacky and it's too much. But if there's ever times where there's relevant upgrades, I feel like as I talk about it, it might be good to have like a little pop-up, you know? But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to find a way to do it. To be honest, I'm just really fortunate that you guys mainly show up for my casting. I don't know if a visual necessarily helps. But Dark Noob, he just saw the scout here for Jonslow. Jonslow was just lurking around. They've chatted up quite a bit here. And this start for Dark Noob looks like the light cap opening. And this is an opening that is pretty expected, I think, in this instance. So if you're Dark Noob, You're expecting monks of some kind from the civilization that can go for crazy monk pressure. And then if you are Jonslow, you're probably expecting the light cast. Oh, by the way, another bonus I forgot about, which is absolutely insane with this civ. You get... Okay, that was really confusing. So let me tell you what just happened. So, I have my phone on my desk, right? But it's like pretty far away from me. And coming out of that phone is my charging cable, which is running along the floor. And the side of my foot was barely touching my charging cable, and I didn't realize it was touching the cable. And then someone just called me on my phone. And the reason I paused was because my foot was vibrating ever so slightly, like my pinky toe. I was really, I was really confused why my toe was randomly vibrating. Sorry, that's weird. But that's what happened. That's why I got so confused. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Bohemians and their Spearman bonus. So their Spearmen do 25% extra bonus damage. And the Spearman line is all about bonus damage in the first place. You think about how low their attack is. You have Spearman at 3 wood, or 3 attack. You have Pikeman at 4 attack and Halberd 6. It's not really a unit that has high stats. So adding on to that bonus damage is absolutely insane. And this is then an opportunity possibly to mix in some Spearmen if you're Jonslow when you go forward. That was so weird. When you hover over your tech tree button in game, perhaps implement that when you hover over their icon beside the name. Yeah, Paul, that's the thing. It covers up the whole screen. Like, I'm a big fan at keeping things simple and clean. And so I think what would probably be better is if I have a few relevant bonuses, we have a pop up in a good area. But the thing in game, I know you guys might use that when you play, but it literally covers like, whoa, what did I just? I can drag fletching apparently. It covers up like this much of the screen. I think that's too much. I want to have relevant information on screen at all times, which is why I keep this clean, right? Which is why I toggle through this when it's relevant. I am also super particular about what I show. You guys probably don't care as much as I do, but I try my best. Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, monasteries are cheap. And Jonslow is now sending everything to gold. And if you're wondering what I would do to nerf this civ, if there were to be any nerfs, I'm not going for a complete overhaul here. I think maybe instead of the monasteries being 75 wood, you could make it like 100 wood. Their blacksmiths are also cheaper. Maybe with the mining, give them the free feudal age mining techs, but not the castle age one. That seems really strong to get the castle age. Just stuff like that. So he's on stone, and he's on gold, and he's thinking about a castle drop right now. With most civilizations, if you're going to go for a castle drop, you're going for a castle drop. You can't really do much else, right? You look at his wood, he doesn't have a lot on wood, he doesn't have a lot on food. You are stretched pretty thin because you're on that stone for the castle. What's nice is, though, you can have 3 on stone, and that's going to bring you in those resources much faster. Jonslow lost his scout a little bit ago. This scout from Dark Noob. And then we now have more scouts on the way. So, what's nice about Bulgarians is you can rush a blacksmith upgrade here if you want to. You could get forging or something. And look at Dark Noob. He's looking around. He sees the spearmen. Now, I'd be paranoid that there'd be villagers on the way. Let's see if he sees anything. Looking around. He saw the spearmen. He added a man-at-arm that now turns longsword because they get their swordsman upgrades for free. And Dark Noob's like, I'm going to win the game right here. I'm going to win the game right here. I've got scouts. I've got the longsword. This is my moment. This is my moment. He's in Castle Age faster. This is so good. And Jonslow, he's not known for quick walls. So he's going to try. He's going to fail. And he says, you know what? That doesn't feel comfortable to me. What can I do instead of quick walls? Oh, I know. We'll go for a monastery wall. So he fights back. Little wall there. Not bad. Okay. He adds a monastery. He doesn't lose a villager at all. He adds another monastery and another monastery. And so he's going to go for monks in the middle of the map right now. So, of course, the extra bonus damage here doesn't help against the longswords. But longswords in and of themselves do have kind of lowish stats. I think Dark Noob, if he would have had 2 longswords at that very moment, could have had a better time. This is Jonslow's win condition now. This right here in the middle. So now the concern, I guess, is like, you've got a lot of longswords and the opponent's going to have monks, right? So let's look at the eco right now for Jonslow. He's got 6 total on wood. He's got 10 on gold. He's got tons of stone, tons of gold. Makes sense when you've got the mining upgrades for free. Can someone in chat give me some information here? How much faster do you mine after the first mining upgrade of gold? And how much faster do you mine after the second mining upgrade of gold? I actually don't know the stats on that. Are we talking like 10% and then an additional 15%? I think the ratio is a little different from what it is for wood. I'm actually curious on that. Anyways, Dark Noob knows that bad things are coming. So Dark Noob's thinking, I've got Light Cav. And I'm going to go stone now because Krepos are 350 stone. And you can drop them. It's like a mini castle against any type of pressure that might come in. Someone says 15%. Oh, they're both 15%? Okay. So you're mining, he's mining 30% faster right now. Now that's insane, right? That's insane when you've got, 16 villagers mining. You're going to bring in some resources to really do some stuff. Yeah, so again, if I were to talk nerfs, and we'll see, I would just say maybe talk about removing one of those for free. As the scouts come in, they're not light cav, excuse me. I said light cav, I think. They do get the monks, so this is exactly what they want. However, at a price, the scouts go down. You see a longsword switch sides. You've got this monk now. That monk could maybe go down. And this is a bit of a problem now for Dark Noob. It's not pretty. The monk's going to run away and try and take the relic home. Unfortunately for Dark Noob, he was able to get 2 relics. And now he's like, okay, we're going to fall back. And we're going to drop a crep host. And this is just going to stop any of that pressure from getting completely out of hand. Now, we have Atonement for Jonslow. So he will be able to convert enemy monks and switch them to his side. And these 2 villagers are just going to drop a castle right on the front like it's nothing. Yeah, Bulgarians do not get the best monk upgrades. No sanctity, as mentioned in chat, so you don't even get the HP. But truthfully, you should kind of stop making monks now anyways, because your opponent's always going to convert yours. Oh, and he got one inside. I think Dark Noob forgot about that. And so, guys, at the moment, I mean, this is 1 TC versus 1 TC, right? Another monk gets converted. Oof. It's alright, it'll be killed anyways. This is not really a situation where you really feel like Jonslow should be able to go imp, but he hasn't spent food. And he has fervor, so his villagers are ridiculously fast, very efficient. He's going to use the market, classic arena strategies. And with a forward castle, you should always expect someone to go imp, at least at the high level. And he is on the way to the Imperial Age right now. So what does Jonslow see? Well, first off, he sees some relics. He's got 3 in that monastery now. That gives him gold. He wants to go Trebs. He wants to go monks in the next age. As he can just add 2 more monasteries like it's nothing. So here comes a Light Cav. Light Cav could kill a monk. Nice little bit of revenge there. Not bad. That's some good value from the Light Cav. And guys, Dark Noob expects this. So like, back to my point. The way Bohemians operate right now with our current meta is they're able to go for an extremely all-in build better than probably any other civilization right now. I would argue it's even better than any other monk civ, except for maybe Teutons, because Teutons have the conversion resistance. They have this option, right? And we'll see if Dark Noob is going to be able to punish this, because there's rams coming out of this workshop. And look at this upgrade, Heresy. You rarely see Heresy researched. I think we see it more so nowadays because I bring a few more monk games to the channel and people are getting better at the game and they realize how important that is. But Heresy is 1,000 gold. And with Heresy, your units do not switch to the enemy team after there's a conversion. Here comes a monk. A little antsy for Jonslow. I'm not sure why he ran in there. He loses a monk, but he does have more behind this. And at the moment, Jonslow is worried that this is going to be Light Cav. and Rams, because he sees the Siege Workshop. So he knows this is going to be an all-in Castle Age from Dark Noob. There's no way Dark Noob could ever go Imp here, right? There's no way. So he's massing the Rams. He only is going to have 2 by the time Jonslow's an Imp, and there he is. Jonslow at home. No farm upgrade, 1 wood upgrade, that's it. Who needs eco upgrades when you can get fervor, right? He's opening up with a trap. You can see the longswords are loading in the Rams. Now, if you expected longswords, what you could do is you could get chemistry in theory. But I wouldn't even be too concerned about the longswords because you can convert them. But you can't get chemistry in Castle Age. Obviously, you're Imp now if you're Jonslow. But he doesn't really have the greatest eco. Chemistry is really expensive. It's 300 food, 200 gold. He doesn't have anything close to that. So for now, if you're Dark Noob, you need to wait. And it's so tough to wait because the longer you wait, the worse it gets for you. If you lose this Krepos, you lose pop space. After the Krepos, you'll probably lose your 2 relics. And still, it's like the opponent has so many monasteries. They're just going to continue to add monks. So this isn't easy. But what I do like is how he has his units inside the Rams. I think that's really important. And he's going to fall back into Castle Age, and he's going to make another Krepos. Now, we're looking at tier, like S tier, top tier, probably the best arena civ right now in Bohemians. I don't think there'd be much dispute amongst the arena players that Bohemians is #1. And if it's not #1, maybe it's #2 in some weird situations. But it is just so good at this. We're not even at 30 minutes yet. And there's 12 monks, there's pikes with extra bonus damage, and there's trebs pushing in. Now, what will Jonslow see here? He's got block printing now. So he has 12 range. Won the monks. Nothing in Castle Age can compete with that. And when he goes in here to Relic Heist, he sees the Rams. No, Poles are not even close. I think Poles are not even top 5. There's some really bad matchup for Poles. So the surprise factor is gone. The only TC for Dark Noob is this TC. That TC goes down. And so Jonslow knows what's coming. He has to know that's longswords. He can see it now. Now, where having Bulgarians is helpful is you have the attack and also full armor, so that's good. But man, for Dark Noob, this is only getting worse for you. You've got some Hussite wagons being created for Jonslow. And he's 8 on food, and he's been able to do this. 8 on food. He's almost finished with his starting gold pile already. Plus, he's got the 5 relics. Look at this from Jonslow's perspective and get excited, okay? Look at this from Dark Noob. He's slooping around. Jonslow sees it. You can see he's sending some monks over there. There's 45 military versus 42 right now. You clear out the monks. Pikemen are not an issue, regardless of the fact they're an imp. Okay, Dark Noob sees he's been spotted. He now is going to bring in the Rams. He waited a long time for this. Choo-choo train. He waited a long time. And here come the longswords. So now you've kind of got Jonslow looking all over the place. And he's hoping that he can get conversions so he can have longswords on his side. But Heresy's in. So they're not conversions, they're kills now. And so on the front line over here is the pikemen. But the pikemen are getting rolled. The trebs have to back up. And the Rams don't have anything to contest them. You know, if Heresy wasn't in, Red would have longswords. And then the longswords would be taking out the Rams. But guys, it's hard to click this many monks. That castle's exposed. You have units inside of there. And this is awful for Jonslow. Just awful. We have an all-in Castle Age pushback. Jonslow's trying to convert the Rams. He actually converts 2 Rams. What's funny about that is you have to stand next to a Ram to convert it. So you rarely see that. You cannot convert Rams from distance like you can Mangonels, for example. So Wololo, Wololo, Wololo. The castle goes down. All-in Castle Age from Dark Noob. And there's 11 monks on the field for Jonslow, and he's still making more. He's committed to this. And to be honest, the Hussite wagons were such a good addition for Jonslow because they've tanked so much damage. And it's allowed him to get more kills than maybe you would have expected otherwise. But we have 17 military versus 16. It's still super close. But Dark Noob's in Castle Age with a lot more eco right now. At least a lot more eco in terms of food eco. Now, I hope he'd make a few light cap here. It looks like he is. He finally takes out the Trebs. I feel like a few light cav would give some great value. And he's probably thinking, well, I'll just take my relics right back and let's do this. And Jonslow's like, well, guess what? I'm Bohemians and I'm not dead because I have something I can do. Granted, other civs can do this too in Imp. So my narrative is getting ruined ever so slightly. But he's making the university. So he's thinking, well, I've got to counter infantry now. And to counter infantry, I am going to go for hand cannons. So there's chemistry. So here's the funny thing about the last 5 minutes. Dark Noob has had no TC. Like, I think he's played up against Jonslow enough times to where he knows that if he defends from that type of play, he probably wins with or without a TC. But he still doesn't have a TC. So for Jonslow, if he gets back to creating vills out of 2 TCs and is able to make a few hand cannons, Jonslow can actually catch up on the vill count and maybe push this right back. Like, I guarantee you, Dark Noob, if you were to ask him, he would have been like, oh yeah, I thought I won the game here. But it's not over just yet. Obviously, the relics will fall for Jonslow, so that'll hurt. But he does still have amazingly efficient gold eco back there. And let's look at the resources collected, because this really tells the story. I mean, one person's got gold and stone, the other person's got wood and food. And wood and food doesn't matter as much on Arena as maybe other maps. Like the more open maps, the wood and food tends to be more of a focus. Which is why a player like Jonslow, who, you know, has slow in the name, he likes Arena because he's able to do so much with so little food, with so little wood. Especially those civs that give you like free gold upgrades or cheap monks or anything like that. You know, faster producing monks, he loves it. Basically, the other people do the work for the food, and then he converts it over to his side. That's the thought process. So, the Rams are just going to break right into Jonslow's base right now. And we do finally have a TC for Dark Noob. He's also going to add a monastery, and I think he knows what's coming, because he was just over here. Good scouting from him. And so he's going to think of skirmishers now. Here he comes. He's getting Bodkin. This is cheaper for him to get the blacksmith upgrades, so here he is. We have the quick walls from Jonslow, or not so quick as the longswords make it through. And let's see how the master quick walls his woodline. Jonslow doesn't have to quick wall the woodline because Dark Noob doesn't know it's there. And probably a good move for Dark Noob to back away. It's really hard right now for him because he feels like he needs to get value from his Rams still. Now he's sending Light Cav over this way. And Jonslow's at 52 vills. It is 61 for Dark Noob. However, Dark Noob's in Castle. So Jonslow's position is in many ways better, I would say. See, he's going to go over here to these ranges. So he knows the hand cannons just went home for Jonslow. So he's going to try and take care of the ranges. I like this. It gives you some use from the Rams. I'm not sure if he's intentionally saving this one because it's weak, but yeah, here he comes. The guys, hand cannons, they received 3 buffs this year. An accuracy buff, an HP buff, and they're also cheaper. So it was all the buffs came in before Bohemians were a thing. Hand cannons are no joke now. They were one of the worst units in the game. Now, they're situational, sure. But it's a unit with 40 HP, 17 attack, and 7 range. And with this eco, Jonslow is able to make a lot of them as he's now going to add more archer ranges. Now you can see the KD is not looking too good, or is not going to get much better for Dark Noob, and Dark Noob's thinking primarily on skirms. Okay, technically last year, because it's 2022, but it was within the last year they received those buffs. So Skirmisher, a good counter unit to units like hand cannons. Any archer line unit, it's the unit you want to go for. Costs food, costs wood, of course. However, you really would want imp upgrades. The Skirmishers, here they are. They're going to come out here to save the monk. Monk goes down. It is 3 relics for Dark Noob, so he has 1 more than what he had before. And Dark Noob's still 1 TC. I would have liked to have seen a 2nd TC, but obviously heavy focus on his military creation and control right now. Hand cannons have the same range as the skirms. It's a gold unit, though. You don't want to waste gold units. The thing about skirms is that you can afford to lose them in theory. still be a big issue. So, isn't this a crazy game so far? We have had Jonslow completely push out across the map with Monk, Castle Drop, Trebs, Fast In. He loses all of his forward. He lost 5 monasteries, a castle, 3 Trebs, and a bunch of monks. And he's still alive. Just nuts. Now, I know that the whole hand cannon thing right now is something other civs can do in Imp. But I kind of feel like if he didn't have the free mining text with how bad his eco was, like he wouldn't have been able to research the second ones. We know that much. The first one, maybe. Like he'd maybe be at like 8,000 or 9,000 gold. I don't know. I wish we could somehow like play the same game with a different civ, you know? And he's just going to walk forward and drop another castle. And Dark Noob sitting back here like, well, what? Dude, I just did this all before. I'm pretty sure I took out that castle. What's the deal? Deja vu for him. Now, check it out for Dark Noob. He realizes the situation. He knows the longswords are kind of useless for him right now. So what do? You go for a siege tower. I like the play. Siege tower some units into Jonslow's eco. Take a risk. And he's going to add the TC now. He has an 11 villager lead, which is not a lot, and that's a lot of hand cannons there for Jonslow. And this is Jonslow's point of view. Obviously, he's probably going to make a bombard cannon, maybe even a Treb. And, well, here he is. So you've got military attacking villagers. What's faster? The villagers or the military? Well, the answer is the villagers. They just run away, and Dark Noob knows this. Now he hops in here with the siege tower. And, okay, some quick walls from Jonslow on the wood line. Good work. I like how he goes for stone, because he knows that this could be an issue. But if you know Jonslow, his focus is almost always on the front. He'll send a few units home. But he's not even... He hasn't corrected those idols. He's just going to send hand cannons into his base and look at the front. And so now you need Miracle Part 2 if you're Dark Noob. You need Rams again. Only this time there's Siege here. And hand cannons actually do pretty good against Rams. So you would need even more. So for Dark Noob, he's kind of... The thing that sucks about Arena is you can't counterattack effectively. Like, the Siege Tower was your best shot at that. But they put pressure on your face, and you've kind of got to deal. This army here, your Siege Tower is still alive. It would probably kill this in open battle, but because the castle's there and the bombard cannon, very, very tricky. Listen, you guys didn't make any jokes about my pronunciation of the word miracle until Dave said something. So don't even sit there and act like that's been an issue for you until you heard Dave on the WWC cast, okay? I'm not saying that I pronounce it perfectly. I don't know. Maybe I've got that twang, that weird Pennsylvania accent. But don't even chat. As the castle goes down, poor Dark Noob has lost a castle and 2 Crepos so far in this game. Now, he could, in theory, siege tower this entire force into Jonslow's eco. But Jonslow would maybe like that at this point. He's got a lot of hand cannons. 112 pop versus 130. Supplies is on the way. If only that would have come in earlier. That's actually really bad that he didn't have supplies. Some people research supplies too early. Some people research it too late. It's the circle of life. The supplies of life. And guys, this just in. Hand cannons shred Castle Age skirms. Not even close. That was a horrible fight for Dark Noob. And now Jonslow showing he's not so slow. Quickly walls behind this. And the hand cannons will mop all of these up. They have nowhere to go. The siege will continue to push in. We do have that next ram attempt coming for Dark Noob. But I think he's realizing that it's just not going to work. This was a really crazy game. Like, honestly, an incredible attempt from Dark Noob in a really bad Civ matchup. Really bad Civ matchup. So I still think it's worthy that he's worthy of any salute we give him. Oh god, I was expecting him to resign. I'm sorry, I thought he was going to resign. He's not resigning, he's going for it. Lycav coming in for the bombard cannons. He's got 2 rams here. And here come all the hand cannons, obviously. So like, he's probably not going to be able to finish off the castle. The Lycav will take out 1 bombard cannon and leave it at that. Treb will go down to the rams, though. It's not bad. 36 hand cannons, plus there's 3 bombard cannons. And yeah, now Dark Noob, he tried. And now he realizes it. Oh, wow, like... So, I don't know if I've ever seen an arena game where an all-in Castle Age push with 15 more villagers against a Monk Rush has not won the game. We've casted a lot of arena. Think about it. You're normally so all-in, and you spend so many resources on monks that you're just dead when you lose that castle, right? Like, he lost 3 trebs. He had 20 monks. Maybe he saved some, but let's say he lost all those. He was 1 TC. He's behind by 15 vills. And he was just able to come back again after having that crazy gold eco to maybe buy some res, get chemistry, and then make the hand cannons. This Civ is nuts. And if this game hasn't really shown you that Bohemians are nuts in their eco side of things, not just their options, is nuts, then trust me, you're going to start to face them more. You're going to start to see it more. And we even saw on Wandering Warriors Cup of all tourneys that Bohemians players were just saying the Civ was unbeatable if played a certain way. It is crazy what the Civ can do. And I think the difference is, and it was a great game from Dark Noob. Granted, Dark Noob didn't have like a top arena Civ. So it's hard to compare a top arena Civ with a mediocre arena Civ. But I think the comparison that I'd make is just the Golden Stone. And I don't know if you quite have this much gold or as much gold as he did when after he lost his push, if you don't get those mining upgrades for free. Now, this game was still winnable for Dark Noob. I think Dark Noob, as I mentioned before, probably thought against Jonslow of all people, it was GG when he pushed his back. So I think that, well, first off, maybe if he had supplies when he went for the initial push, he would have saved resources on the longswords he made. But also, if he would have maybe rebuilt his TCs, it would have been better for him. Because if you go back, so this is where the push comes in. Excuse me, I'm going back. Okay, so at this stage, he still doesn't have the TC. Now, to be fair to him, he put everything on the farms. He's even adding farms without a TC, which is a little weird. But maybe, like, buy some wood, add a couple TCs. Because at this stage, or soon after, it becomes 2 TCs versus 0, which is where the catch-up happens for Jonslow. I think if maybe he's got a 30-vil lead, when the second push comes in, he can all-in Castle Age it again. I don't know. But think about, like, what Dark Noob had to do in this game. The light cav, the long swords, the ram push, all these complicated things. And then what Jonslow had to do in this game. Granted, he could have died, right? It was such a good play from him not to lose his villagers here with the monasteries. And I know controlling monks is difficult, but man, Dark Noob fought so well. Still got outplayed there by Jonslow and the Bohemians. And I spoke to Aremku, who's a CL player. And Aremku told me, now this was like a couple weeks ago, guys. Actually, let me get the exact quote. Let me read this off, because if you don't, some people might not take my word for it. I've got my biases, right? You heard me complain about Koreans for years. Let's see, Aremku. Okay, I can't do the exact quote, forgive me, but he said, T90, I don't know if you realize how good Bohemians are. I spoke to Draken, and over 30 games, he has a 95% win rate, and I myself have a 98% win rate, winning or losing one game in 40 or something. It was insane. So, yeah, he kind of gave me some stats on the clown players and the arena players on their arena. Unfortunately, I can't seem to find it, which is kind of a bad way to end the cast, but I tried my best.